Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Deputy Chairman, I am happy to be able to speak in this House once again. I do so for the first time on this side of the House, and that makes me doubly happy. I welcome the friendly and conciliatory tone of the Honorable Finance Minister's speech. I think the tone and approach has changed over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that augurs well for this bill. Although it will depend upon the outcome of this debate and the assurances that the government is able to give on many issues which he himself hinted are still outstanding issues and need to be resolved. If I may say, in the lighter vein, between 2011-14, I did virtually what was called traveling between my Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, the leader of the opposition in Rajya Sabha, and the empowered Council of State Finance Ministers. We tried to pass the GST bill with the support of the principal opposition party, and we failed. In the last 18 months, the government tried to pass it without the support of the principal opposition party, and I am glad that you have also failed. Today, if we pass the bill, which I hope you will, after we listen to your speech, it will be on the basis of serious discussions, serious negotiations, and serious debate. It is far too important legislation to be passed on a partisan basis. In fact, I commented once, I hope the finance minister will pass the bill not on the strength of numbers but on the strength of his arguments. Sir, I am glad that the finance minister has acknowledged that it was the UPA government which first officially announced the government's intention to bring about the GST. On the 28th February 2005, it was announced in the Lok Sabha. In the course of the budget speech, I quote, "In the medium to long term, it is my goal that the entire production and distribution chain should be covered by a national VAT, or even better, a goods and services tax encompassing both the center and the states." It has, of course, taken us 11 years to arrive at this point, but I think the journey has been a learning experience for everyone in the house and outside. Sir, let me make it very clear that the Congress party was never opposed to the idea of a GST. In fact, I believe about an hour ago, the finance minister said so much in an interview to a television channel, and I thank him for making that acknowledgement. We were never opposed to the idea of GST. We are discussing or debating the idea of GST. That debate has gone on in this country for the several years, and I think the country is now ready to embrace the idea of a GST. Just as the earlier GST bill introduced by the finance minister was opposed by several parties, including the BJP, the 2014 bill is also being opposed. The idea was not opposed, the bill was opposed because we felt that it was possible to have a more perfect bill. And I choose my words carefully. There can be no such thing as a perfect bill. And in a legislation as transformative and as revolutionary as the Goods and Services Tax Bill, I don't think anyone from the government side will claim that this is a perfect bill. It can never be a perfect bill. But when we found that there were too many flaws in the bill and many of those flaws could be fixed by addressing them seriously, we decided that we could support the bill. I am happy that in the last few weeks there has been a serious engagement by the government with the opposition parties, including my party, and I am glad that considerable progress has been made. Sir, there are four major issues. I will touch briefly upon the first three issues because it is the last issue that concerns me the most and I want to take my time dealing with that at some length. The first one is this. I wish to point out to the Honorable Finance Minister and there are still pieces of clumsy drafting in this bill. For example, in the present list of amendments circulated, you have made some provisions for what will go into the Consolidated Fund of India and what will not go into the Consolidated Fund of India. This problem should have been noticed much earlier. It should have come in the draft bill. But it has come today in the form of an amendment, and while I will not take too much time explaining what I have in mind, if the Honorable Finance Minister reads it more carefully, he will find pieces of clumsy drafting.